Hey there, good afternoon. It is Thursday, August the 3rd, and I'm still digging out from the fast track to financial freedom that we had last week. So many great conversations, so much great content, and I really appreciated everyone who was involved and participated in it. And I've actually, all this week, I've been in various phone calls, text messages, back and forth, and talking to people, getting some feedback, getting ideas for improvement, learning all kinds of things. One of the topics that's come up, people really did enjoy some of the ideas from the Money Masters that we did on day 4. And I had mentioned a couple of times during the fast track that I had had a recent set of conversations with the Money Masters and that I had some insights to share. And we ran out of time, and I don't want to make sure I want to make sure I don't skip that obligation. Not only that, their insights are really cool. And so it was really interesting to be able to check in with everybody. I've done 10 calls. I think I've gotten to 10 of the 11 Money Masters and was able to check in with them. And I asked everybody the same question in two parts, really, is what's going on? What's going on in the world? Markets, the economy, financial, all that kind of stuff. What do you see going on? And part two is what are you doing about it? And that's where it got interesting. So I want to share with you what they told me. And then there's kind of what they didn't tell me, but what I was able to pull out of it as I put it all together. And I think this is some insight you're going to want to know. And it really gives you a sense of how people who really have worked on managing their wealth very, very well and live a life of gratitude and abundance and absolute happy and for sure happiness. So can't say they're absolutely happy, but a life where they're in actively engaged in living a happy life, type of life that I know I want to live as well. So when I asked about what is going on in the market, the general backdrop that came out from most of the people was one about the war, particularly Russia and Ukraine, political messiness and divisiveness around the world and especially in the United States. Some topics are more around the demographics, population decline, and increasing wealth disparity, both in the United States and around the world, and not only today, but what they expect to come in the future. So those were some pretty big ideas around the backdrop. In regards to money, it was pretty unanimous that the interest rates are just not an issue to this group. That was not something that people viewed as a big problem. There was perspective of interest rates have been much higher over time, as well as the fact that they're not crazy right now. And they've also built lives that are not going to be controlled by the interest rates. So that was a big one. And then there was also the notion that money is changing. And that tied into the next one, which was which comes into the technology, but there really was no concern if there is a crash of the markets. That was definitely pervasive across the whole crew of I'm not really concerned. When it came to the technology, that really tied into how money is changing. And big crypto came up quite a bit on a regular basis of expectations for a significant bull market in cryptos where there's going to be a lot of growth in that area, particularly around Bitcoin and Ethereum, and as well as what are the implications of AI, of artificial intelligence. And that one's really interesting because each person had different views about how it impacted their industries. And the thing I can take it from all of them is that no one is living in a life or living in a world where AI is not having an impact, starting to have an impact today, and they don't believe is going to have a massive impact going forward. So this is definitely a major shift and something that we're all going to want to pay attention to in so many regards, not just in our investing world, but how our lives work, how our work and our professional lives happen. All of this is going to touch everything. Quite a few conversations around the media. Definitely a notion of believing that the media is quite unreliable, particularly as it relates to the markets and the economy, finances, and that there's really basically no need to spend any time on the talking heads or even, quite frankly, most of the economists in the media. Definitely not a lot of confidence in what's going on there. A lot of comments like they don't know anything either, or I can't believe that, I don't trust that, things like that. So definitely a consistent belief there. And the last one, which I wasn't quite ready for, And but was interesting to hear about is the impact of COVID and the pandemic still. And the reality that I heard is that it is absolutely still impacting various businesses. Certain vertical industries, markets are for real still feeling it. There are business cycles to play out. There are changes that occurred in the marketplace. And so the idea that pandemic is over, it's gone, everything's back to normal. I'm hearing that is absolutely not the case in all corners of society. So that's a big roll up of what's going on. Very big open-ended question that I love to ask. And then I got into with each of them. So what are you doing about it? And when it came to markets and investing, there was an initial answer from pretty much everybody where the answer was nothing. And that answer requires some unpacking a little bit. But it was really about, I'm going to stay with my systems. I'm going to stay with my strategies. And my approach is fine, it's valid, and it works for me. And quite often, people were very well prepared that their systems and their strategies already would account for what happens when the market turns. So that when the markets go down and when we enter into a recession, because we do, that's how the cycles of the economy work, everyone was prepared with how they were going to handle getting through it. Different degrees of preparedness, but everyone talked about how they felt confident in their approach and their strategies that they would get through that just fine. Some of them would do quite well and make a lot of money in a downturn. So they're very well prepared for any economic environment, any economic season. In terms of any adjustments, I asked about, like, would this cause you to make any adjustments? And really, most people said not so much. But in the grand scheme of things, I heard that people are making some changes in terms of how they're investing. And I heard more about diversification. I heard more about real assets. So physical things versus, say, investing in paper, holding equities or stocks and bonds and things like that, that people were buying actual physical things such as real estate and other types of physical assets. Definitely conversations around global exposure, making sure that there was exposure to investment opportunities outside of the United States, and that there were some really tremendous opportunities occurring in other countries around the world and other parts of the United States that we're not in. And ultimately, again, continuing to create a diverse stream or multiple streams of revenue coming into their personal financial estate. The big investments that people talked about, where do they see big changes, big investments to make, and potential really, really major returns? As we already discussed, it was definitely AI and crypto. So there was definitely a lot of attention being paid there. People are getting themselves educated. People are paying attention to big business trends. What's going on? What do the numbers look like? What do the technical trading ideas look like? And so there are lots of different views on this, but people definitely talking about how to capture the value of AI and crypto going forward, either as an investor or however it fits inside of their actual businesses. The last one was interesting, and it does play itself out in the market. Several of the money masters said that they're spending money and they're investing in their homes, and that they're doing big renovations, doing additions, and building the home that they want to have, and maybe a home that they want to have as a base for them and their family for years to come. So hearing that from several people was interesting to me. I was a bit of a surprise. But if you go look at the markets right now and you look at what segments, if you look at sectors that are doing very, very well, many of the top ETFs, many of the top sectors right now are absolutely in the building and construction space. So I think the money masters are not unique in this, and there seems to be a lot of growth and action in that particular space. So what were my takeaways? I had 4 takeaways from this most recent round of interviews with the money masters. The first is that every single one of them answered every question and talked about their strong beliefs. They've taken time to examine what their beliefs are about the economy, their investing, their skills, their lives, their families, and they had very strong beliefs about what the right things to do were for them, and they had a plan of action that lined up to it. Number 2 is they have a system. And some of them are very, very basic. When Chuck talked about level 5 investors, some of the money masters are excellent level 5 investors with simple plans that absolutely work for them, and it meets their needs. It feeds their lifestyle and works for their personality and how they view markets. And all of that comes together in a very simple or basic model. They all execute very well on their systems. Number 3, some of these folks really could make a whole lot more money. I had that conversation with several folks, and the response back in most cases were, yes, I could make a whole lot more money, but I'm good. I'm living my objectives. I'm doing the things in my life that I want to do right now. And so I don't have to go chase down a whole lot more money. I've set up what I need to set up. I have strong systems. I'm prepared for whatever comes forward. And that's not my goal right now. So I want to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm not going to go chase earning a lot more money. And to me, I actually felt really good to hear that, as opposed to the journey to just chase more and more for the purpose of having more. Some people want to have a lot of money and live a life of extreme wealth and riches, and others, it's just not the game. And that's awesome. And it was really great to hear some of that. And the other one is some of these people were working quite hard to adjust, particularly places where people were business owners and having to retool how their business works today, coming out of the pandemic, adopting to AI, and various other forces that impact their particular field or avenue of business, and that they were really having to make some adjustments. And so all of that put together was really great to hear. And the one of them said it so well, and I felt it in all the conversations, is that I am super optimistic. And every one of them was optimistic about where they were headed, regardless of the backdrop, the challenges, obstacles they saw, and maintaining that upbeat, optimistic view of the world. And I'm a big fan of it. And they do all, everyone has their own ways of getting there, but it's really exciting to hear that. And it's really exciting to hear some of the feedback and the ideas and thoughts. So I hope some of that helps you, gives you some clear ideas about what some other people who are well into their financial freedom journeys, about how they're viewing the world. And hopefully there's some ideas that you can pick up as well. So with that, hope you have a good one. Bye now.